Thank you. Well, thank you very much for those introductions. And we want to welcome you to our little strand here, our little session titled Everyone Can Learn a Language. As you heard in some of our bios, this is something we're very passionate about. We kind of just want to share some of the experiences that we've had with some of our students and personal experiences too. So just to kind of address what we're going to try to get to in 12 minutes is the problem, changing the mindset, practical strategies that can actually be implemented, and acknowledging that there is a challenge amongst our schools, and then how can we address some of those challenges, in particularly, obviously, with languages. So as we were kindly introduced, my name's Anita Young, and then Dr. Mulroy, and we could tell you a little bit more about the World of Learning Institute real briefly, okay?
Yeah, so briefly, the World of Learning Institute has been doing virtual language instruction, like he said, for 10 years. So we feel really confident about our approach, and we believe that all kids, and we all have, Anita and I, and both of our other colleagues who we work with full time, we all have learners in our own families who have had disabilities. And so we really have this really strong feeling that everybody should be able to learn a language, and we have found in the virtual environment that that's very true. So we've had kids of all varieties in that virtual language because they see us on Zoom and they build that relationship, and then they can do it at their own pace, the work in a learning management system. So
yeah,
Anita will tell you more about how that happens.
One of the things that we want you to just think about briefly is, and you can just kind of raise your hand if you wouldn't mind, how many of you are good at learning languages? You would consider yourself good at learning languages?
Raise your hands
some
higher.
of these,
Raise your hands higher.
All right, so
Don't
a
be
few of
shy.
you, and it's funny that question, right? How it's presented, good at learning a language.
I want to just jump in there real quick because how many of you are good at learning reading? How many of you are good at learning reading? Pretty good.
Okay.
About the same. Okay.
Okay.
Just wanted to check that out.
So there's a problem, right? And specifically almost with that question, even the way it's titled and the way it's presented. The problem is it a matter of equity? Is it a matter of bias? So think about your own system and kind of who your language learners are as you're thinking about this. So I want you to take a guess here, and you can just shout it out. How many students are enrolled in a world language program in the United States, high school? Give me a percentage that you would guess. 80? Okay. Anybody else? 80? Anybody else? This might shock you.
25?
19. 19% of students. So when we think about high school students, that's all populations of high school students, right? Doesn't matter what that means. Gender, it doesn't matter. But 19% are only enrolled, okay? Not saying they aren't offered, but enrolled. So who is the stereotypical language student? So for those of you that have students that take world languages, what's the stereotypical? What would you say? And you can shout it out. What kind of students? Say that? No, that's okay. College prep, college bound.
General education.
General education. Okay. Any other suggestions?
Male, female?
Does it matter? Okay. So I'll introduce you to the stereotypical student. This was actually one of my former students, Anna Lynn. So college bound, nailed it, okay? Very involved, okay? Outgoing, willing to take risks. So yeah, so this is typically, when we think about systems and what's set up in schools, who is allowed to take world languages, possibly even at some of your schools. So we need to change the mindset. It starts with there. It shouldn't be just this type of student that is allowed to have an opportunity to take a language. So we want to think about the first time you learned a language. Maybe some of you have seen this video before. So let's consider Kingston, okay, and his first experience with language.
Okay. They need to work on that, right? Yes, okay. Did you understand it though? No. Okay. All right. Huh? Oh, no, not this one. This is the grand finale of this. Yeah, that's the last one. That's what I was wondering. I don't know what they're gonna do next season because they did some stuff this time. Exactly what I was thinking. Oh, yeah. Right. Don't bring that again. You know what I'm saying? Don't do the same stuff. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I was thinking that. Yeah. Like, go somewhere else with that, but don't bring it here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
All right. So one of the things I just want you to take away from that video is Kingston didn't have a set of expectations he had to meet before he was exposed to a language. He didn't have to have a 3.0 GPA. He didn't have to have these things, right? So when we think about even exposing ourselves to a language, whether it's first language, second language, third language, there shouldn't be that criteria placed. Okay, because this is just someone immersing, conversing, engaging a child in language. So when we think about key elements of language acquisition, right, just like what you saw in that video, there's lots of input. There's someone talking to someone else. Acquired in context, there's conversation, right? There isn't memorize this list of 20 words and then repeat it back to me or tell me what it means in English. No, it's used in context. There's repetition, obviously, so he uses gestures too, right, along with the repetition of words. Low affect filter, so there isn't a lot of pressure to learn it. It's just fun. And then relational, again, in a situation, right, they're watching TV, they're hanging out, they're talking. So I want you to meet a few other people. I want you to watch this video first. This is Mia, and I'm going to go ahead and have you watch this video.
Hold on. Can you start over? No, start again, ready?
Enita omestas me pregunto qué cenas en el estudio olvidarás una llamada excedida omestas me pregunto qué cenas.
All right, so Estrellita, ¿dónde estás? Is the modern English version of Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. So this is Mia. This is actually my daughter. Mia, at the age of 3, was diagnosed with autism. She was nonverbal till the age of 4, never said a word until she was 4, never spoke a sentence till she was almost 5. This video, she was about 5.5, okay? So here's what I could just tell you really quickly, and this is what led to kind of our little passion about this, that everyone should learn a language. Mia, again, we had decided, as my husband doesn't speak languages, so we had decided that we were not going to expose her to other languages because we wanted her to learn English. We didn't want her to pressure her or delay her further. Anyway, so we made that decision, and when the pandemic happened, she was watching an app, Noggin. It's a Nick Jr. learning app, but there were some Spanish songs on there. And for the first time, she was exposed to Spanish. And a couple weeks later, she sang this to me. And I thought, no way. She was exposed and learned it. And I thought, nah, that's just a song, not a big deal. She memorized it. Autistic kids are good at memorizing things. I was like, nah, no big deal. So then one day we're sitting at the table, and I have a 4-year-old ornery son. And he was, I needed to correct a behavior. And she turned to me and said, Mommy, you need to be feliz. Feliz means happy. And I thought, no way, did she just do this right? She said it right. She used it in context. So I thought, this is my fault. I haven't exposed her to another language. This led to me meeting Thomas. Thomas is currently a student at Bald Eagle Area High School, public school, not too far from RIU. Thomas is in a high school life skills class. And when we were meeting with Bald Eagle last spring, I was telling them about Mia. I don't know why it came up. I was telling them, the same story I just shared with you. And they said, well, teach our life skills students. I was like, yeah, really? And they said, yeah, offer Spanish to our life skills classes, or middle school and high school. They said, can you accommodate, can you differentiate, can you do this and this? Yes, 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 I can do that.
Of course we will.
So meet Thomas.
Everyone say, hola.
Hola.
You ready? Here we go. Hola, Thomas.
Hola.
Muy
Triste.
triste. Muy bien, Thomas.
Sí.
Sí, in
dice.
that picture, estoy feliz. Clase. In this picture, ¿cómo estoy
Enojada.
yo? How am I? ¿Cómo estoy yo?
Enojada.
Enojada. Good. I'm mad. Sí, enojada. So
That's like in
repite,
2 weeks.
Tell
No.
me.
It's in
Sí
2
or
weeks
no?
he's speaking like this.
No, I see thumbs down. Muy bien.
And I have a
Clase.
stepson who's
Estoy
27
feliz.
who just did online language.
Sí.
Who's also cognitively disabled.
Sí, estoy feliz. Muy bien. So what I just want you to think about is, Thomas is in a life skills class. Would he have ever been exposed to a world language had I not mentioned my personal story to this teacher, and had we not had motivated teachers and instructors who are willing to make accommodations, right? To make changes. It can be done. Just like we accommodate and make modifications for reading, math, it can be done for world languages. So every child gets that opportunity. So that's just something to think about here. Just real quick, practical strategies. And this is more for in-person too, not just through our program, is hosting World Language Weeks. Consider the benefits. Have your parents vested in making those decisions and understanding the benefits. Using teachers to do some cross-curricular connections. Guidance counselors are the big decision makers when it comes to world languages and policies. So getting them to understand that there doesn't have to be a certain rigor. And students as well, and media profiling some of your students in world language classes. Same thing, just make accommodations, make the changes. And I'm going to skip ahead here so Pat quickly can just acknowledge some of the quick
Well,
challenges.
really, and ultimately it's the reality hits, and we're kind of at the end of our time. So I can let you guys ask questions later just about some of the ways that we do implement this, and ways that you can do it that maybe don't cost a lot of money, that use your community, that allow you to explore the resources that you have right in your very own communities. We're really passionate about this. Like I said earlier on, we all have kids who have learning disabilities or cognitive disabilities, and we have wanted them to be included for so long, and so we finally have this dream that we can now do that. So thank you for your time. We'll look forward to getting some questions from you here.